Hello everyone, Kellan Olson here, Arizona Sports Suns reporter, coming to you from a 99-95 loss for the Suns to the Dallas Mavericks. I know that a lot of the conversation from this game is going to be about one player. Before we get to Deandre Ayton, though, we should just talk about Luka Doncic. He twisted his ankle 4 minutes into the game, and from there, the story of the game was going to be which team adapted better. Dallas is the team that had to adapt more, obviously, because Luka Doncic supports their offense in a way that no one else does in the league right now, and maybe no one else in league history. Like, you're looking back to Sixers, Allen Iverson teams when it comes to how much of their production Dallas's comes from Luka Doncic. So Dallas had to adjust, but the Suns did too. They came out doing some interesting different stuff, defending Luka in a way we hadn't seen before, and then their defensive principles had to kind of shift, and they had to figure out what they were trying to do because their whole game plan centered around Luka didn't really matter anymore because he was out of the game. And in between all of that, there was just this sense of change in just the urgency and the energy in this game, because I think a lot of people will read this and see the quotes after talking about a lack of urgency, talking about not having the energy, talking about situational awareness, all these things. The Suns look like the team that had just won 4 straight about 8-9 minutes into this game. They still looked like that team through most of the first quarter. Then we started to see those really, really deep offensive struggles that plagued them during the 5-17 stretch, and they just never got away from that. Meanwhile, Spencer Dinwiddie went absolutely crazy. He had 36 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists in 40 minutes. He basically stepped into the Luka role and did a pretty great job, and that was really the difference in the game. Chris Paul had a good night. He had 22 points. Cam Johnson had 22 points on 12 shots as well. Deandre Ayton contributed 19 points, 20 rebounds. He was 6 of 20 from the floor. He will be talked about more than any other player in this game, of course, just because of the amount of DA moments that were in this game. I don't know what else to call it, but just like the touch shots that weren't going down, the ones where he's shooting from 10 feet out when it should be a shot from 4 feet out, or he should be dunking it. There was a perfect alley-oop pass that he received about 7 minutes left in the game. Had a really good opportunity to dunk it. He just put in a two-handed layup. A lot of people always respond to the way Deandre is playing and just say, just dunk the ball, what are you doing? I don't subscribe to that a lot, but this was one of those instances where like he just had to dunk it. He got shoved, he got fouled, but he didn't get that foul call, and the reason why he's never gotten that foul call is because he doesn't play with force consistently. Then, of course, there is a rebound at the end of the game. I'm not willing to – that was more of a bang-bang play to me. If there's any player that is at fault for that, it is Deandre, but at the end of the day, it is him and Torrey trying to corral the ball, bang, all of a sudden Dwight Powell's right over here drawing a loose ball foul, and the game is over. But the one thing I will say from being in the arena and being at Footprint Center is that the crowd, their groans materialized and grew more and more throughout the game for those moments with Deandre in a way that I can't remember. For him, I think there have been individual plays where it's been louder, but the way this escalated all the way through to that lob play, and then with the rebound, again, you could sense the frustration from the fan base right here, and I know online it was certainly there, but in person you could sense that frustration as well in a way that we haven't seen for quite a while. Suns will have to just chalk this one up, flush it, and move on, because they got to get back to their brand of basketball that worked. They've got a lot of winnable games coming up. That's what we've been talking about a lot. Take care of business against Charlotte. Hey, man, when Luka gets her 4 minutes into the game, you got to take care of business. They did not do it. They've done a great job of it so far. They need to get back on track. An extremely winnable game on the road against San Antonio. Then they've got about 10 or 15 more coming up that feature a lot of winnable games as well. That's what they're going to need to do, because if they have another 2-3 weeks off, they could be looking at the play-in tournament as almost a certainty, and then if it goes beyond that, might not even make the play-in tournament. That's how crazy the Western Conference is now, how much urgency they need to have for every single game. And slipping up like a night like tonight might matter. They're now 1-2 against the Mavericks. They could tie the Mavericks in the standings, lose that tiebreaker. If you're at the 6-7, now you're in the play-in. If you're at the 10-11, now you're not even in. That's how tight it's going to be here in the Western Conference. Keep an eye on that, and keep an eye on ArizonaSports.com, where we'll have more coverage throughout the season. Goodbye.